it's nice to be in a film that people like, Amy, because it doesn't always happen. And you go into doing things with the best of intentions, hoping that people are going to like them, and they often don't. So it's nice to be in something that people want to go and see in the box office, and also give award nominations to.
Can you just explain your character a little bit and how he fits into the whole bigger picture of the film?
Sure. I play a guy called Danny Moses, who's a real guy, who works for a hedge fund, which is headed by Steve Carell's character, Mark Baum. He works for a fund that shorts the housing industry. To short is to bet against. There was this huge, I mean, obviously you'll see the film, but the huge financial bubble created by the interest in American housing bonds. Another guy called Michael Blurry, played by Christian Bale, saw that this was going to blow, that this was going to be a huge event, that something terrible was going to happen, and they betted against it. That's the kind of a storyline of the film, and I work for that fund. And I suppose the message of the film, the idea of the film, is to represent, describe, and put in an easily digestible nutshell what happened in the 2008 financial crisis, because it's something that I honestly couldn't explain before it happened.
But you said about how it kind of puts it all into a nutshell.
Yeah.
The kind of educational side
Yes.
of it and how it sort of explains it to people, something that attracted you to the role?
Yeah, absolutely, because I thought that you're making a film about finance, you've got to make it fun. And you've got to make it digestible. I wouldn't necessarily be interested, me personally, in reading books about finance until I read The Big Short, which is an extraordinary book written by Michael Lewis. He did Working Banking. Now, I read that book and I was so gripped by it, but there were still things in it that I found confusing because of the way my brain works, because I'm not that bright when it comes to that. But Adam McKay, the director and writer, found a really fun way of bringing it to screen by doing things like getting Margot Robbie in a bath to explain what a CDO is. And if that can deliver a message at the same time, then terrific. But really, ultimately, films should be exciting, interesting, and entertaining to watch. And that should be the most important thing, regardless of the message. The message is secondary to me. So hopefully he's done a really good job at bringing those two things together.
What impressed me the most is kind of how it really did focus on the individual people. It didn't get overcome by the whole mortgage meltdown. So how did you as a team make sure that it was the people at the focus?
Because I guess that human beings are what's interesting. It's humans' fallibility in the face of adversity that makes us read books, watch films and go to the theatre, because you put yourself in that situation. As an audience member, to fully understand and get your head around something, you need to imagine you being there. So to get rounded performances and humans at the heart of these things is extremely important. And I guess that Adam McKay, the director, he encouraged a lot of improvisation. Now, I'm going to find it difficult to improvise about finance, but I found it in me to improvise about having a swollen testicle.
The more human side of things.
Listen, the more human side of things.
In the book, your character, Danny, says that you can kind of pinpoint a Wall Street person just by looking at them and pick up certain aspects. Do you think that's true? Yeah,
he's like, he could tell by the way that someone dressed if they're an analyst, or they're a broker, or a trader, or a hedge fund manager.
Because I kind of felt the film wasn't very stereotypical with the people that were in the finance business.
Yeah.
Do you think that people do fit into those slots?
I do, yeah. Someone who works in bonds is maths. It's a lot of people will get headhunted from like Oxbridge or Harvard, maths geniuses who sit in rooms working out algorithms. If you're a trader or an analyst, you're working on instinct. You're the sort of person who, if you weren't working in the financial world, could easily be working on a market stall or selling things, because that feeling of, man, I really think that people are going to start buying Pritt Stick. Let's put a lot of money into Pritt Stick. That's instinctive. So you've got different...
Kind of more people focusing on what they found, whereas taking a risk and...
Yeah, exactly. And it's a different part of your brain, and you get different sorts of humans that do that. But I think in any art form, if you're subverting stereotypes, because I guess other finance films, which I love Wall Street, but Gordon Gekko is very particular. And that's a particular world. And The Wolf of Wall Street, that's kind of what we as the public assimilate bankers to. So, so something different, and putting real people doing questionable things. So, you know, the thing that always to remember about these guys, even though they were anarchic, even though they were challenging the foundation of the banking industry, they still made a lot of money out of other people's misery. And it's worth remembering. Even though they're good men, some of them.
So sometimes it's more situational.
Absolutely, yeah.